Hello friends, looking at current affairs for 25th April, the news items picked up from the Hindu newspaper are these 15. We'll look at them in detail. The first one, 25 CRPF men killed in Maoist attack. So this is one of the deadliest attack on security forces which has taken place, in which 25 CRPF personnel were killed and around 7 injured. So this took place in Sukma district in Chhattisgarh. So this was the Maoists who had attacked, and the CRPF personnel here were actually providing protection for road construction work in the area. So this is the incident which has come to the fore. So recently, a few days earlier too, such an attack had taken place in Sukma. So this is the second Maoist attack in the last 50 days now. Then the next news item is panel moots UID numbers for cows. So now the Union Agriculture Ministry has proposed that the unique identification number should be given for cows as well. So their progeny can be identified and their protection can also take place. It's an action against cattle smuggling which takes place. So this is a suggestion now. Next is Goldman Prize for Niyamgiri Hero. So Niyamgiri Hills we have discussed I think 3-4 times in the past few days. So this Niyamgiri Hills is in Odisha. So here the tribals who live, indigenous people here are Dongriya Khons. So the Dongriya Khons consider Niyamgiri Hills as sacred and they consider themselves as the authority which should protect them. So for their protection, they are the custodians of Niyamgiri Hills and they should protect it. So here actually the government had proposed to give license to Vedanta Group for bauxite mining. So bauxite is the ore for aluminium. So there is aluminium here present and that's why mining rights were given. But then the protests took place in this region. And the NGO involved here too, it had been named by Home Ministry recently. That's why it was in news. We discussed it recently. So the Home Ministry named this NGO as the Front for Maoists. That the Maoists are working together with them and they are protesting against the government initiatives and projects coming here. But then the NGO had refuted such a statement made by the Home Ministry. In its report, it stated we are not a front for the Maoists. They had mobilized the tribals and made them aware of their rights, their land rights. And then the Supreme Court, the petition was filed in the Supreme Court. It was in 2003. So this bauxite mining agreement with UK-based Vedanta Group was signed by Odisha, my state mining company, in 2004. So in 2003, when this was known, a petition was filed. This is the person who has recently won this Goldman Prize, Prafulla Samantara. So he filed a petition in the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court gave a ruling 10 years later. In 2003, the petition was filed. And it's this ruling, Supreme Court said that the Gram Sabhas should have a final say in the mining project on this land. So then these Gram Sabhas of these villages were asked, there are 12 villages which were selected, they were asked to vote on this and they voted against providing mining rights in this region. So Vedanta Group's mining release was cancelled actually. This agreement was cancelled by the Environment Ministry. So this is the case. So this Niyamgiri Hills activist has been awarded Goldman Environment Prize, the International Environment Prize for the year 2017. So there were 5 other Indians too who have won this prize. This was instituted in 1990. So since then, others like Medha Patkar, MC Mehta, Rashida B have also won this award. So this is the case. We have discussed this in detail earlier too. So you can see these were the 12 villages selected where the Gram Sabha voted on whether mining rights should be given or not in this region, Niyamgiri Hills. So this is here in Odisha. Then the next news item is child artists can work only for 5 hours a day. So this is an addition to the already Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Amendment Act of 2016. So this act recently passed. This has put a blanket ban on employment of children below 14 years of age. So this is there, but there are 2 exceptions for this. So one is that children who work as child artists in the entertainment sector, they are exempted, and children who help their family enterprises are also exempted. So now, of course, this was criticized too, because how much would they be made to work? Then this can be going on, means child labor would go on in the garb of it being for family enterprises. So that is why now the Labour Ministry has come up with rules So this is Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Amendment Rules 2017. So these draft rules have been proposed. So they are fixing the working conditions for child artists too and children employed in family enterprises. So some of the major provisions in these rules, you can see the proposed rules are that at least 20% of the income earned by child artists will be required to be deposited in a fixed deposit account in a nationalized banks, and it will be credited to the child when she or he turns 18. So this is there. Also, permission of the district magistrate would be mandatory for engaging a child artist. They cannot take part in street performances for monetary gains. So this is there. Also, a person should be nominated who should be responsible for the safety and security of the child artist in the production unit. So these are for child artists, and also the children were assisting their families in running family enterprises. It should be without affecting. So there is only this subjective term, without affecting their school education, which is mentioned. So this is there, and also no child artist should be allowed to work for more than 5 hours a day and not more than 3 hours without rest. So these are the major provisions in these draft rules. Next is Supreme Court for broad anti-torture legislation. So this is a petition which has been filed by a former Union Law Minister, Mr. Ashwini Kumar. So it asks that the government should have a anti-torture law in place. So the Supreme Court has also asserted this. It says it's a matter of both implementing Article 21, right to life. So there should be an anti-torture law, plus also of international reputation, because this is a point which is generally raised by countries when they are refusing extradition of people of accused in India to come to be sent to India. So this is the point being raised now. So the recent example is also of Mr. Kim Devi. So he is a Danish citizen from Denmark. So he is wanted. So he's a prime accused in the Purulia arms drop case of 1995. He has to be extradited from Denmark, but Denmark has refused extradition on the ground that it would risk torture or other inhuman treatment in India. So that's what the Supreme Court is saying, that this is a case of international reputation too. Plus another point which has been made in the petition also is that even in 1997, but it has still not ratified it. So the convention also defines torture as a criminal offense. So we know torture does take place in police custody. So even NHRC looks into these matters, but again it has been stated in the petition that NHRC, National Human Rights Commission, looks into cases of torture and it results in death. Custodial deaths is what it looks into, not torture as such. So that is why it has been emphasized that we need such a law. Also an initiative was taken. There was this Prevention of Torture Bill 2010, which was introduced in the House. It was passed by Lok Sabha and it was sent to a select committee of Rajya Sabha. But now it has lapsed. So initiatives should be taken to have an independent Prevention of Torture Bill as such, to anti-torture law. So this is the whole case. The case of Mr. Kim Devi to Villat Purulia case, what was it about to? So this you can see, it says the center has avoided independent legislation on torture, saying that some states were not in favor of such a law because it involves law and order, police, and states have a key role. Law and order is a subject list, and also it's the center's statement is that Indian Penal Code and IPC and CRPC, they are more than sufficient to look into torture related cases too. But then a fresh appeal has now been made by the Supreme Court too to the government to have an anti-torture law. This Purulia case, arms drop case of 1995, was that an aircraft AN-26 dropped arms over Purulia. So this is in West Bengal. So the crew here had foreign nationals. So you can see 5 were Latvian citizens, 1 British national was also there, and also Kim Devi. So what happened is that the consignment actually it was carrying was around 4 tons of weapon, including hundreds of AK-47 rifles, anti-tank grenades, 25,000 rounds of ammunition. So these arms were dropped and they were caught, but Kim Devi, he escaped. Others were arrested. So this case is still not known that for whom were these arms delivered. Kim Devi has given his statement that these were delivered on behest of the then central government, the Congress government, which wanted to end the left front government in West Bengal. So working against them. So we don't know the facts about it, what is the truth, but this is the Purulia arms drop case. The next is moderation system to end. So now central and state school boards have decided they will discontinue the moderation system. So what was the system that awards, that extra marks were awarded to candidates in public examinations, in the board exams which take place. So in these examinations, when these extra marks were added to all, then it resulted in the students' marks going very high, some getting as high as 99%, and then the cutoffs also go exceedingly high. Then it becomes more of a matter of luck rather than competition. So that's why now they have decided to discontinue moderation, but grace marks would be awarded wherever it is required, and it would be mentioned in the mark sheet too that these are grace marks. So this is the news. The next is Sukhoi's join frontline in Punjab. So this Indian Air Force Punjab Squadron Valiants have inducted the Sukhoi 30 fighter aircraft. So this is the multi-role fighter aircraft inducted into the Indian Air Force. It will replace the MiG-23s, which were phased out in 2009 actually. The next is solve a problem, win ₹1 crore. So this is a new initiative which is coming forth. This is a scheme called IDEAS, Innovations for Development of Efficient and Affordable Systems. So the scheme is asking students from higher educational institutions to volunteer to offer innovative, original and practical solutions to problems facing the country. So areas have been picked up in which these solutions are sought. So these are like affordable healthcare, computer science and ICT, information and communication technology, energy, affordable housing, agriculture, education, etc. Infrastructure, even defense, cyber security, climate change. So when they give their solutions, it will be a competition, and the winners in each category would be awarded ₹1 crore. So this is the case. Participation will be encouraged from higher educational institutions, but from IITs, NITs and CFTIs, participation will be mandatory. So this is the scheme IDEAS. The next is World Bank, IMF try to woo Trump government. So recently the meetings took place of World Bank and IMF, and here it was the Trump's administration's proposed cuts to multilateral development banks was also discussed as such. So for the next 3 years, US has cut these, but then it was subdued because the response to that was subdued, because still they are expecting that the US government would support these organizations. So we discussed about IMF quota case even yesterday when Indian finance minister spoke about it, that the quota review has been pushed again to 2019 now. So this is there. UK now has become the top donor for World Bank too after Brexit. So it has committed around £60 million for global concessional financing facility. So this will be given to Jordan and Lebanon. So they are hosting refugees in West Asia. So this initiative has also been taken by World Bank. So this is one important statement made by World Bank President Jim Yong Kim. He says that now World Bank is emphasizing on humanitarian development peace nexus. So earlier it was traditional approaches, development approach. So now this is the new approach, humanitarian development and peace. As we see, they are working for the refugees here too. So this is the news here. Next is Ghana, Kenya, Malawi to pilot malaria vaccine. So these African countries will be piloting the trial of first malaria vaccine in the world. So this will start from 2018. So these will be real life trials. Clinical trials have already taken, and it has shown that the vaccine is partially effective. So World Health Organization is also endorsing it. It has been manufactured by GlaxoSmithKline, the British drug maker, and its name is, it's an injectable vaccine for malaria. It's called Mosquirix or even RTS-S. So this is the vaccine. So it will protect children from malaria, which is majorly affecting Africa. You can see 91% of all malaria deaths occur in sub-Saharan Africa. So this is the news. So first we have to see what will be the response in this first real life trial as such, and then the World Health Organization says that it can put it under its schedule as such too for having these vaccines done for children. This is the areas in which malaria is prominent. Then next is only 6 of top 20 H1B visa recipients are Indian firms. So this is a statement coming from NASSCOM. So NASSCOM is saying that US government's comments recently that H1B visa lottery is misused by Indian companies, that they put in some duplicate as such applications too, so that in the lottery system, because this H1B visa is allotted through lottery system. So randomly it's picked up. So here maximum go to Indian firms because of the misuse which they are doing. So now NASSCOM has given a response to that, saying that only 6 of top 20 H1B visa recipients are Indian firms. So Indian firms like TCS, Infosys, they do not get so many H1B visas, but 70% of Indian nationals, around 71%, get H1B visas overall. So means what? H1B visas are given to Indian nationals, but they are not working for Indian firms only. Means even US firms employ Indians. So that is the case given. So it says, NASSCOM says that even all the Indian IT firms cumulatively account for less than 20% of the total approved H1B visas. So Indian firms are not taking up the major chunk of H1B visas. It's used by US firms only, though Indians are appointed, selected. Next is China revokes licenses of 29 steel firms. So this is that 29 Chinese steel firms licenses have been revoked on the grounds that they were not complying with the stated capacity and pollution requirements. So the state government provides these requirements which were not fulfilled. So they were asked to shut down. The licenses were revoked. So this is the case important as such because steel production, overproduction of steel which is happening in China and the exports which are taking place are affecting nations. Even USA had spoken up against it. India has also imposed a minimum import price for steel. So this is also called dumping as such. So China is now regulating its steel industry. The next is India aims to cut oil products imports as it spurs alternatives. So India is aiming to cut its oil product imports to zero. So alternative fuels such as methanol, even second generation ethanol, which can be produced from biomass like bamboo, cotton straw, this is being developed. So there is a mandate to blend ethanol, that is into 5% of its gasoline. So this is being looked ahead to. So this blending plus even natural gas mix has to be raised. So presently natural gas is only 6.5% of total energy production. So it has to come up to 15%. So these are cleaner fuels. So these are being promoted now. Even India is developing its liquefied natural gas bunker ports. And there are plans to even develop electric vehicles. So these alternatives result in oil imports of India going down, which are significantly high presently. Then the next news item is government to auction mines for coal to gas projects. So we have already been discussing about how coal blocks will be auctioned now. So this is being stated that these coal blocks will be auctioned to private sector for coal to gas, coal to liquid and coal to polychemical projects. So these will be better emissions. So this will means coal directly being used results in more emissions, but when coal to gas or these technologies are used, then carbon emissions are also reduced. So this is the case, and also it says that domestic coal gas can help lower the country's import bill. So when coal production would take place and coal will be used as a clean fuel, then we can have our import bills also. This is also an alternative source of energy. So it will reduce our import bill too. The coal scam which was there, because the statement here says that these will be freshly identified coal blocks which will be auctioned. It will not be the 204 cancelled blocks. So there were these coal blocks allocated but cancelled post the coal block scam which came in news. So Supreme Court had cancelled these allocations which were done when the CAG, Comptroller and Auditor General of India, stated that these coal block allocation was done on an arbitrary basis. There was no auction which was done. So this has resulted in a huge loss to the exchequer. So this had resulted in the Supreme Court finally cancelling these coal blocks allocations. So this is the news. Now fresh blocks will be allocated by auction. The last news item is K. Vishwanath wins Phalke Prize. So this is Dada Saheb Phalke Award, which is the highest award in India for cinema. So this has been awarded to the renowned filmmaker and actor Kasinadhuni Vishwanathan, K. Vishwanath. So he is a person from the south who has worked in Telugu and Tamil films and also in Hindi films. So he has been given this award for his outstanding contribution to the film industry. So Dada Saheb Phalke is known as the father of Indian cinema. He was a filmmaker who directed India's first full-length feature film, Raja Harishchandra, in 1913. So that is it. Thank you.